Okay, so I'm on the Adept server here, and you see the Adept service. This is the service that allows the desktop users to have access and allows Adept to work. If you want to make changes to database fields, this service has to be stopped. If you just want to make changes to the data card or to your file guide views, you can just launch the Adept Designer tool on the server, and you can go ahead and open up the database. You'll get a message here saying, hey, the Adept server is running. You'll only be able to modify data cards and file guides. And that's okay. So in this mode right now, I have the option of working with my file guide view settings or working with the data cards. For what I want to do today, I want to work with creating a field also. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop the Adept service. This means that all Adept users kind of need to be out of the pool. With the Adept service stopped, users can't be in the system. Now, if I launch the designer and I open it again, you'll see here I don't get that warning about the service being running. Instead, I get a message here saying that any changes that you're going to make in the designer cannot be undone. There's no undo commands in the designer here. So if you are making a lot of changes, you might want to make a backup of your configuration. And if you hit yes here, that'll go ahead and create a backup out on the C drive. Right here is where, under Adept, you'll see a backup, and it would put a backup right out here for you of your current configuration if you wanted to roll back. I'm not going to back up today. It doesn't take long to do if you want to do that, or if you're making lots of changes, we would recommend it. So now you see when I logged in here, I have 3 screens. I have, in addition to my data card and my file guide view, I also now have the database editor screen here. And this is where you can create fields if you need to add a new field to the Adept database. So let's say I want to add a field. I hit new. And this is where you define the field name, the display name, what type of field it's going to be, and how many characters. So I'm going to create a new field here. It's going to be doc_category, document. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of bad typing, Craig. And I'm going to do that. And this is going to be a character field, and I would like it to be 30 characters long, and I say okay. And now that just added that new field to my list of fields. If I then want to place that field on my data card, I come over here to the data card area, and I'm going to just add that field like right below client name. So I'm going to move all these fields down a little bit, and I'm going to go and find that new field here. And here's my document category field, and I'm just going to place it there. And I want to put the title over here to line up with the others. And I'm just going to put the field name right there and just have it set it apart. So I just added a new field to my data card. If you want to manipulate different data cards, if in your environment you have multiple data cards, then you just pick from the list of data cards here. You can see here I have 7 data cards and I have an untitled one. If you want to modify specific tabs in a data card, you just switch to that tab. You can always add other text to a data card if you wanted. Sample text. And now I can move that text around and move it, drag and drop it, or I can move it around if you want. This is in the data card editor. This is where you turn off and on whether or not you want to see the document thumbnail tab or the memo tab. This is where you do all the manipulation of the data card, just like I did a second ago where I added a new field. So once you've done the changes to the data card you want, this is inside of the designer. This is also where you can create new file guide views or add more file guide views. You can see I have a list of existing file guide views already. I'm just going to go down to one of my untitled ones, and I'm going to give it a title. The title is being state, and then I just city, and then we'll just say project as an example. And then once I've given it a title, now I want to go and find the fields in the list on the right-hand side. We want to do city, I believe, so we'll do city there and add that. And then we're going to do, oh, actually, I wanted state first. So let's find state. That's okay that we did them out of order, because we can rearrange the order then. I'll move state back up. So I have my state, my city, and then I want a project. And I'll do project number as an example. So now we need to move that down one. So there, now we've just created an example of a file guide structure that will be state, city, and then project number. So that's the basics of what you do in the designer. Once you're done doing that work, you go ahead and save it. And then you go ahead and close. Once you're done as a designer, it's always you always need to restart the Adept service so that everybody can get back in. And then we're going to go back into the desktop interface. If you haven't restarted the service, obviously you'll get an error message when you go to start the desktop. It'll say, give you an error message about the service not being started. So, all right, let's see here. Now that we've created that field and the data card, let's go ahead and take a look at it. The field should show up on both my search card and on my data card. Here you go, it is on my search card. I'd like to do a little bit more manipulation of this field, and I want to give that field a pull down. With Adept, as an administrator, you can always come into database fields, and you could find that field in the list. I believe it was called document category. And let's say, for example, I'd like to have a list of values. So, what are some document categories? There's drawings. There's manuals. We could have different types of drawings. There's structural drawings. We could have, electrical drawings. You can put in whatever values you want to be in the list, and then in turn, now that field will have those values as a pull down. So in this case here, those are all listed in alphabetical order. So you can see how they're not in the order that I typed them in. If you want, you can choose there as a checkbox there, but that's how you can take a field that you create and add a simple pull down to it. If it's a field that's also going to be related to, let's say, an AutoCAD attribute or title block, where it's going to be an extracted field, then you also need to check the box here that says extracted. And that'll make it available so that when you work with that field from a title block mapping perspective, it can be an extracted field also.